In episode 16 I talked about chalk downland, and I talked about the downs and the Sussex downs that I grew up on. Well, here's the view that I grew up with from the downs behind where my parents live. That's Lewes in East Sussex. This isn't anything to do with where the Warship Down is set. This is just the same kind of countryside, so I'm just going to show you it now briefly. Because, ironically, having talked about where I grew up, we're moving back here to look after my parents. This is one of the positive sides of that scenario. That's Firle Beacon over there, Mount Caburn. Beyond is this hill here, is the Windover Hill where the Long Man of Wilmington stands. Glyndebourne Opera House is over there behind those hills. Down there is Newhaven and the English Channel. You may remember I talked about dew ponds on the downs because of course chalk doesn't hold water, so ponds have to be artificially created. This is one that was renamed in my adulthood Jill's Pond, but it's very dried up at the moment, but in my childhood this was just a concrete lined dew pond that had fallen into disuse. And it has been renovated and turned into an active pond now, but it seems pretty dry at the moment. But shame it hasn't got water in it, because I could have proved to you that they do actually work. But this was a classic downland dew pond, and the only way there could be a pond on downland. So that pond on the Netflix series, like I say, would have to be a dew pond. That's the only way it could be there. And of course sheep, another very important feature of downland agriculture. Arable farming didn't really happen on downland, I don't believe, before the Second World War, when it became absolutely essential. Downland was basically mainly used for sheep farming. And on the other side of this ridge above Lewes, you've got this classic rolling downland dip slope, rather, not scarp slope. That's a scarp slope over there with the next ridge, the kind of steep slope, but this is this kind of rolling countryside with a dry valley down there, I believe. Good example. That's the old Lewes racecourse up there. That was derelict when I was growing up here. We used to go in there and get up to no good in there, but now it's now got millionaires living in there. I used to come here when I was a depressed teenager, and my parents didn't know I was smoking, so I could have a smoke. Spent many hours smoking here, looking at this view. So we're back on the permitted path now, walking along the ridge. So my childhood walk was walking along there, and then down that ridge there, and then back onto the estate, which is down there where my parents live. A few years ago somebody decided to erect a cross here, and although I'm not religious and I found it a bit of an imposition myself, it's kind of well positioned because it overlooks this classic view. Absolutely classic. That's literally the corner of Lewes down there. One of the picture postcard views over the town. If I showed you nothing else today, I had to show you this. You might remember in episode 19 when I dealt with the destruction of Sandalford, I mentioned a warren that I used to come and observe when I was a young teenager. And it was somewhere along here. It's difficult to place it because the fence has been put up, it's all very changed, but it was somewhere along here. And then I found it destroyed one day. This was all a wheat crop in those days, and their feeding went some way out into the field to about here. They'd cropped the wheat back. You know, there was a loss of some crops, but look at the size. If you look at the size of the field, not much. And yeah, I came up and it had just been destroyed. I remember how upsetting that was. And I found my notes for that. I used to spend hours up here just observing them. I was that kind of child. Always happiest on my own. And it was devastating to see it destroyed like that. Not a rabbit in sight. Well, those are the downs I grew up on. I've decided to show my face for the first time. Hope it's not too shocking. I know it's a bit of a diversion for Watership Down, but I couldn't help doing this. It's quite a significant time for us at the moment as a family, so I thought I'd do this. Let's say some people who watch the podcast think, you know, they've said that having this personal element to it, going over my connection with the book, makes it quite poignant, so I thought, why not? This doesn't count as an official podcast episode or a site visit or anything like that. It's just a little optional extra, and I just hope you found it interesting. I'll see you soon.